A 75 milliliter solution of hydrochloric acid with an unknown concentration is titrated to the equivalence point with 27.3 milliliters of 0.157 molar calcium hydroxide. What was the concentration of hydrochloric acid in the original solution? So, based off of the information the question has provided for us, we can find out what our basic equation will be. But first, let's visualize what we were given. 75 milliliters of hydrochloric acid added with the 27.3 milliliters of a known concentration of 0.157 molar calcium hydroxide. Knowing this is our unbalanced equation. Here are the reactants, and this will give you your products. The water, H2O, is coming from the hydrogen from your hydrochloric acid and the hydroxide coming from your calcium hydroxide, giving you this. And then the calcium chloride is coming from here and here. Now we need to balance this. And what we can do is we can look to see that 2 of our hydrochloric acids added to 1 of our calcium hydroxides will give us 1 calcium chloride and 2 waters. If you can see here, 2 H's plus 2 H's here gives us the 4 H's right here, and the 2 oxygens right here is fulfilled by the 2 oxygens from the calcium hydroxide. You have 1 calcium and then 2 chlorine atoms. Now, if we look back to the information given to us, we can find how many moles of hydrochloric acid we have. Given the volume and the concentration, we can easily find moles. So here we have 27.3 milliliters of your calcium hydroxide times, and that's milliliters, so you need to transform that into liters. Multiply that times your 0.157 moles of that, and moles are always into liters, so that's your ratio, times, and you have your ratio from the actual equation, 2 hydrochloric acids over 1 calcium hydroxide from just your reactant side of the equation. This will give you a very specific number of how many moles of hydrochloric acid you have. So that is how you find just the moles of hydrochloric acid. Now, you're looking for your concentration, because that's the whole point of the entire question. To find that, you need to divide that by the amount of hydrochloric acid you were told you had in the very beginning. Because remember, we were told how much of the hydrochloric acid we had, we just didn't know what the concentration was. So you make the 75 milliliters into a form that we can actually use in our equation process, so we have to transform that into liters. 75 milliliters equals 0.075 liters, and so here's a number we got from the calculations to find the moles. And the moles of hydrochloric acid divided by the amount in liters you have of hydrochloric acid will give you specifically your concentration of hydrochloric acid from the original solution. This number divided by 0.075 liters, which was given to you in the problem, gives you 0.1143, or around approximately that, molar of hydrochloric acid, and this is the answer you were looking for. Now, there are several instances where we could have gone wrong. A very common mistake is not transforming our milliliters into liters. That's a big problem. That's where you could do some easy mistakes or careless errors when you're trying to do your dimensional analysis. Another area is not even balancing your equation, because you can see here, this was just the equation I knew I was going to have given my reactants, and I knew I could make I knew what products I would be making, but you have to remember to balance it out, or else none of this would work. Another common mistake, just always remember to cross out what you're doing in terms of just what units you're in. Units are very, very important, and if you mess up on your units, you are going to get drastically different numbers. Another issue you could have confused with, you could have just messed up on the original equation to plug in the numbers. You could have just not known what to do with the numbers provided in the question. And those are a lot of the basic go-to careless errors for this problem. Good thing we did a step-by-step. First, it's really nice to have a visual to begin with, leading into just your idea of how you know to balance equations with, especially with your product side, and even just knowing what to call each specific part of your equation. So this concludes my presentation on how to find the answer to the question of what was the concentration of hydrochloric acid in the original solution.